The most beautiful part of the day is what the photographers call the golden hour. A time at sunrise or sunset when the light illuminates all it touches with a golden glow.
Our target for this episode is one of the most underrated stars in our galaxy. We're excited to share our own adventure in distant lands, discovering more about the sun. How can we thank our beautiful star if we cannot look at it? With a little help from our friends, we get the opportunity to catch a glimpse of the sun and show you the safest way to do so.
Follow us and work on your tan in this episode of Galactic Hunter. So as you can see, we are setting up at our faithful spot, Nelson's Land.
Wait a minute. Why don't we take this episode to a cooler place?
Okay, sure. Wow! Hey, Antoine, why is there so much grass everywhere?
That's not grass, it's wheat. We're traveling to my homeland and taking a break from the heat to enjoy the beginning of summer in this very hot episode.
We will always vouch for our favorite tried and true spot when we go out to image and view the stars. However, the winner of this episode doesn't need the night sky in order to be seen.
Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Galactic Hunter. As you can see, we are not in the desert. We are far away from the desert in northern France.
It's pretty cold here compared to Vegas, so it's kind of hard to get used to it, but it's okay. It's always cloudy here pretty much, so it's really hard to capture anything. The only equipment we have is this camera right here, so we cannot do any imaging.
Unfortunately, but we are hopefully going to get our hands on a solar telescope thanks to one of our relatives, Olivier. He's gonna lend us his solar telescope, and maybe we'll have our first successful try at trying to image or look at the sun, and hopefully it'll be all right. It's a little cloudy today.
So we'll only have the telescope tomorrow for just a few hours, so we're going to just, enjoy it, not try to get anything, not any images. So once we get back to the US, we'll try our best to meet with a friend who is really good at solar images, so he can, teach you and us at the same time how to capture the sun and edit it as well. So let's pick it up right now. We're going to go to Olivier's house to get the scope, and I think if tomorrow is sunny enough, we can try our best. Alright, let's go.
As we head over to obtain the solar telescope, we can't help but take in all the glorious countryside that France has to offer. This is a drastic change for us, with the climate and geographic location, not to mention the culture shock. Well, for me anyway.
The weather during our time here was mostly overcast and had an abnormal season of storms. We were lucky enough to have a partly clear sky the day we got the telescope.
Since we were hit by many days of overcast skies, we were hoping that the next day would greet us with some sunshine. Much to our excitement, we were able to see lots of sunlight and set up as quickly as possible once a few clouds began to move away from the sun.
So we're here outside trying to catch the best sun that we can right now. It's been a little cloudy the past few days, and today we only have a few passing clouds, so we're trying to catch what we can while we can.
We're trying to do this episode right here in France because it's so hot in Vegas right now. It's about 40 degrees, even more, in Celsius. How much is that in Fahrenheit?
It's probably about like 90 something degrees,
Yeah, 90
almost
plus,
about 100
almost
maybe.
100. So even here it's kind of hot though. It's only like 27, which is, I don't know.
It's quite humid here, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit different than what we're used to in Las Vegas, so we're kind of sweating it out a little bit.
So we're trying to do this episode here so we don't burn too much. But we got this from a friend, from a family friend, which we can really be thankful for. It's all his stuff. So we have a Lunt telescope here, a solar scope, a mount very similar to ours, and a battery power right on the bottom here. So we're going to try to catch the sun through the clouds, even though it's pretty clear actually, and we'll see if we can film. Let's try. Okay, so we have a battery here. It's a battery that lasts about 3 hours. It's connected to the mount like that, just like a regular battery. Then we have the mount itself, which is very similar to ours, on top of the tripod, which is elevated compared to what we usually do. The weight, we only have one this time. We usually use two because our telescope is much heavier and bigger than this one here. And then the telescope itself, I'm going to show you from up close, is a Lunt. Let's see, it's a Lunt, model number is LS60THA, and that one is from the makers at Tucson, Arizona. So that's a telescope which has a finder, a solar finder, which we are having kind of some trouble using because it's our first time. Like that. And that's it. We can change this by turning it. It's between, let's see, 6.5 millimeter and it goes up to 19.5. So we're going to try that right now. Let's take a refresher on what we know about the Sun. The Sun is approximately 93 million miles away from Earth, at the center of our solar system. It makes up 99.8% of the mass of the entire solar system.
The Sun burns brightly. Its surface temperature is 5,778 Kelvin. That's 10,000 Fahrenheit. For comparison, the hottest known star is 210,000 Kelvin, or 378,000 Fahrenheit. Never look directly at the Sun. Without the use of solar eclipse sunglasses or a solar telescope, and limit your viewings to short periods for safety.
If you have ever had the chance to look at the Sun, you may notice it is orange or red colored, but our Sun is actually a yellow dwarf. Be sure to stay safe this summer when working on your tan. We may take the Sun for granted, but it helps us more than it hurts us. We tried pointing the telescope at the Sun several times, but we were never able to center it properly. We quickly realized that one of us,
it was Antoine,
put it on backwards. You are not supposed to look through the viewfinder. Okay, so I tried to realize this earlier and asked Antoine about it, and he put on this little like viewfinder on reverse, and we thought that this was the filter we had to look through to locate the Sun, but just like how you view the eclipse and you poke a pinhole into a box, the light goes through this tiny hole here and ends up here on this spot where we want it, so we can track the Sun as we go, because we'll be doing it manually, not with the control. So now it's a little more clear to us now that this is what we were supposed to do. It also helps to read the actual little note there. Wah wah. Okay, so we finally got sight of the Sun after doing our little like fixings, and it looks super duper cool. It was much easier once we fixed the finder. It took like 5 seconds to find it. It's super impressive. Ouais, purée. Oh, ouais. Yeah, it's pretty good. When in France, you speak French. There's no crazy, there's no flares that we can notice at the moment, but it is still quite cloudy, so that might be messing with our solar telescope. And I think if you play with this right here, it changes the focus? Not the focus, but the way you can see the prominences. I can see a bit more here, yeah. So better? There's tiny ones around the Sun, like very tiny ones.
Il passe une voiture là-bas.
Il y a deux télescopes, un qui est en rouge pour qu'on voit les
fou, ça.
Et l'autre sera pas rouge, sera différent.
C'est dingue.
Unlike deep sky objects, where it is, in general, impossible to see anything using your smartphone camera, the Sun is so bright that it will show through easily. So if you have a telescope but no camera, try to put a solar filter on it and use your phone to take photos of our star.
So now we have clouds, so we're going to change the telescopes with a non-HA one and see the difference.
The second telescope we installed was the ED80, a great imaging telescope that we almost purchased back in the days to have a wider view of the cosmos than our current telescope. Sadly, our inexperience in solar observing, coupled with the waves of clouds passing by, stopped us from testing it on the sun. Out of time, we gave it back and waited to be back in the US to learn more about solar imaging.
As lovely and amazing this trip has been, the sun has set on this journey. We leave the countryside with great memories. We got to spend time in the land. We also got to do some horsing around, far from the cities. We visited Dunkirk. We went to a soccer game where it was storming a lot. And finally, watched my brother get married.
Nothing says home away from home than landing back in your city. Because of jet lag, we were up to see our first sunrise back in the desert land. We then arranged to meet with a friend of ours, a local astronomy hobbyist, who enjoys imaging the sun and has graciously invited us over to show how he photographs and processes his images of the sun.
Hello! We're back in the US and we're here with our friend Bob. He's going to take us through the process of, I don't even know.
Solar imaging.
Solar imaging. Okay,
With the stacking and editing and all of that. Because he does mainly solar images. We met Bob through YouTube. He was watching our YouTube channel, and that's how we met. And for now, he's doing mostly solar images. And since we don't do that often, almost never, he's going to show you and us how he does the stacking and also editing for one solar image. So let's see.
What is the process of beginning all of these images?
All right, well, you know, I've taken these images with my Lunt LS60 THA solar scope. It's a double stack scope. And right here is, you know, is an example. This is a solar surface. So I'm going to open with AutoStacker. AutoStacker 2, yeah. So here it is. Okay, I was noticing a spot down here, a little active region right down in here. So we do Control click to bring this image stabilizer anchor down here, because you want them to use that area as a reference, you know, to stack. Let me go back here. And then you might want to use, you know, if you were in some windy conditions, which sometimes I am, because Las Vegas is a windy city. So you do improved tracking, make sure there's, you know, a check mark in there, and expand. This is how I do it. Now, then you go to analyze, and let it analyze, you know, the AVI file. Looks like I have a pretty good graph here. You know, see, here's the 50% line. What I do, you know, to get the best frames, I usually go up here, you know, above the 50, and you just tap, you know, right above that 50, and then from here up there, because you can see where the frames were good, then it kind of goes downhill a bit, and then. But you know, I'm noticing over here it stays up, it goes back up. Then I go over here and I usually use 48 here, and then you go to place AP grid, tap on that, and then it places those the grid. Then we can go back here. This is going to stack and bring you up with the final image. So what I can do is I can do an image with and without the sharpening. We can compare them. We go over here and we hit stack.
For this, that's quality graph, right?
Yes.
It's better to stay above the 50% line?
In my opinion, yes.
What is the reasoning for that?
Because the other frames, as you see it going down here, they're not as good. There may have been some wind and shaking of the mount and all that. AutoStacker came up and made a file of its own, and this is where the final image is going to be. And here we go. And this is going to be that's your final image right there after being stacked. And then here is the sharpen. There it is where it's sharpened.
There is
A big difference, yeah.
Yes, quite a difference.
Would you yourself consider the sharpened one better or the original?
You know, sometimes yes, sometimes no, because you don't want it to start looking too phony. If you can actually oversharpen. Yeah, you can actually oversharpen images. You want it to look natural. I take one of these images. I'll go with the converted, the sharpened one already, and I will open it. Whoops! Come on, baby. All right, with Photoshop. All right, what we have to do now, since we have the image up, the final image up in Photoshop, is we have to change the mode, because right now it's at grayscale. So we want to take it and change to RGB color. Play, and then you hit that, and then boom. That work is all done. Yeah, see, there's without the sharpening, and there's the sharpened.
The beauty of capturing the sun is that just like galaxies or nebulae, you can be your own artist and choose the amount of detail and saturation that you like. Here's one of Bob's last images of our nearest star. And here is a closer look. You can even do a time lapse of the sun, as seen in this video.
Now, let's put our focus back on the Messier objects. It is time for you to vote.
Will it be the Great Pegasus Cluster? M15 is a beautiful cluster of stars in the constellation of the flying horse, Pegasus. Although Messier 15 is pretty large and spans over 200 light years in diameter, its core is, on the other hand, very small. No cluster has ever made it to a Galactic Hunter episode. Will the 15th object in the Messier catalog be the one?
Will it be Messier 74, also called the Phantom Galaxy? It is a grand design spiral galaxy with a large apparent size. The twist? Its low surface brightness. It is so difficult to spot the galaxy with a telescope that it was given the nickname of Phantom. M74 is the second galaxy with the lowest surface brightness in the entire Messier catalog. But so what? There is a warm spot waiting for it in our own growing catalog.
Like the Earth, the planets in the solar system are constantly orbiting our sun. You've probably already seen several of them when looking up at the night sky, but do not realize what they actually are. By getting closer to one of these bright stars, we may discover that it is actually a planet.
That's it for this episode of Galactic Hunter. We're so glad to have finally finished the episode and hopefully get it out to you guys soon since the trailer. We're more than happy to start it in France while we were there, and we're just so glad to be back, and we're going to try to get back at it again. Today is the 15th of July. France just won the World Cup, so we're going to celebrate.
Yes, so now that the sun and the moon is out of the way, we're going to really focus on messy objects so we can really accomplish our mission, which is to
Capture all the messy objects.
all of them. So we're going to really focus on those ones. So we'll see you next time. I can't wait to see if M15 or M74 will win, or who knows, a planet, we don't know.
Don't forget to vote for them on the comments below on our website.
Alright, see you and clear
Cheers,
skies.
guys.